live. It says it's live and the feed is also started. It says it's live and the feed is also started. Okay, so I hope I'm audible. And if people have joined the call, it will be great if someone could just comment something in the chat box. Hello. Yeah, so good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible, and we are doing a live. Yes, a couple of people have said yes. One issue had given a thumbs up sort of a sign. So yes, I hope I'm audible. I had shared a brief deck with Shashwat, which I will be pretty much making use of in terms of running the this particular live. So sounds good. So here, the Rajasthan Student Startup Exposure Program is primarily aimed at creating an entrepreneurship pipeline in the state of Rajasthan. It's an initiative of Department of IT. And as part of the initiative, 100 selected students from Rajasthan will be taken on an all-expense paid trip to Silicon Valley. It'll be a 2 weeks program. It happens in It'll be a 2 weeks program. It happens in July. July 10 to July 28 will be the dates of the program. So the students who get selected, they will have a small pre-incubation sort of a program. It's more like an entrepreneurship development program. So yes, that will be the way the program happens. So in the 2 weeks in Silicon Valley, aside of going and visiting some of the companies and everything there, Google, etc., you will also have a brief learning program during the course of which you will learn how to develop your idea into a prototype, either the wireframe prototype or a full-fledged prototype. And subsequent to that, you will also be looking at creating a MVP, a minimum viable product, which you can try launching to customers. Those participants who do well during the program might even get an opportunity to pitch to a few customers and investors there potentially. It's more of a feedback process and a learning process. That's how the program has been designed. The Rajasthan government has subsequent programs which can afford funding and everything. So all those participants who do well in this particular program will actually get priority access to those schemes of the government as well. So that is a broad structure of the program. In terms of what all do you need to be able to apply, the only basic eligibility criteria is that you need to be a student in the state of Rajasthan. That is your primary eligibility criteria. That remains your primary eligibility criteria. Aside of that, you will require a passport, fairly straightforward and self-explanatory. If you need to travel abroad, you will definitely need a passport as well. So aside of this, what all are we looking for in teams? We are looking for people who have good aspirations. So what we would love to know about is what is that you wish to do, what is that you aspire to do, both as part of the program or by benefiting from the program, or I would say subsequent to that also, what would you love to do in life? So these are the questions we are looking at answering essentially. In terms of other qualifying criteria, we're looking at your nature of enterprise. So if you have done anything enterprising in your life, either a startup or even any of the initiative that you've taken. So the enterprising nature is essentially what we're looking at figuring out. And the third parameter is your capability, either your individual or a team capability is what we're looking at. On that note, the applications are open to both individuals and for teams. If you are individual also, not to worry, you can apply to the particular program. But having said that, we highly encourage that you apply as a team. The program is primarily designed for a team, and the learning outcomes will also be more when you apply as a team. And even when you're looking at capabilities, the capabilities that a team can bring to the table typically are much better than what an individual can bring together. So we do encourage teams to apply. So the primary intention for the government to do this program, as I earlier said, is to create an entrepreneurship pipeline. Rajasthan government plans to create a world-class ecosystem, startup ecosystem in the state. They already have several programs targeted at incubators, accelerators, and those kinds of initiatives. Now they want to extend those initiatives into the student segment as well, and that's how this program has been designed. And when they are looking to set up a world-class startup ecosystem, they're also looking at providing world-class exposure to its students of the state. So that's how this program has been designed. So yes, we spoke about the eligibility criteria. A, you need a keen interest in the program, which is more of your aspiration. We mentioned what we want to look for in teams. I didn't mention this earlier, but aside of the qualifying criteria, if you have watched Silicon Valley series, if you're not a fan of the series, that comes as an added bonus. We mentioned the key dates. One key date is July 10th to 28th. Those are the dates of the program in Silicon Valley. So that's when you will be expected to participate. Other key dates, this month, May 20th is your final deadline for applications. Subsequent to that, the final selections will happen on the 31st of May. The final selection will be a physical interview round. It will be a team interview round. And all those who get shortlisted for the final selection will be required to appear physically for the final interviews. We mentioned about passports. Yes, passports are important, but having said that, those who do not have passports need not be concerned or worried. If you apply your passports now, or even somewhere in between now and the 20th, you should get your passports issued in time. Basically, we highly recommend you that you apply via the Talkal scheme itself. When you're applying for a new passport, in the passport website, Government of India website, they have provided two options. One option is the normal route, the other is the Talkal route. The normal route, it mentions you'll get in 3 to 5 days, but we have been hearing various instances where people have said that they are taking longer. So having said that, we highly recommend that you apply via the Talkal route. The Talkal route, you will get the passport in a day or two, and the police verification also happens afterwards. So it's a much more faster way of getting your passports in hand, which will ensure that you have your passports ready by the end of the month when you appear for your final interviews. It is mandatory for you to provide your passports or the passport copies when you turn up for your final interviews, because soon after that, once selections are done, we will be proceeding to apply for the visas and everything. So yes, we will need that by then. The application process, it will be a two-stage process. There will be a quick 2-minute form That's your first application form, which is essentially an interest form that just asks for the basic information. So as soon as you complete your interest form, you will receive an automatic email from us, which gives you the link to the main application form and also other guidelines on how to go about the application. Once you receive your main application form, the main application form is the basis on which we actually do the final selections. In that, the main application form, the most important question there is the pitch. There is a question which asks you to help us know, to pitch to us why you should be selected as one of the 100 students to represent Rajasthan. So in that question, um, you can talk about yourself, your team. We encourage that you submit a video, simple casual video. We are not looking for production quality or anything. But if you want to submit as a text, that is also fine. If you want to submit both, some people have asked whether they can submit a video and a text. We are fine with that also. We have said, go ahead, why not? It's open-ended. So primarily, we have kept it easy and relaxed so that you choose the best way possible to convey to us and communicate to us. If you are working on an idea, you can talk about that. You should talk about that. If you have an idea in mind, yes, you can mention about that. If you don't, that's also absolutely fine. It's not mandatory to have an idea to be applying to this particular program. But then you can talk about your various capabilities and other projects or anything that you have done, so that it brings out the nature of enterprise and everything based on which we can do the selections. One key point: the final application form, the main application form, is an editable form. So you can change your responses till your final deadline. So what I would highly recommend is for you to quickly fill out your form 2, and then keep editing as you require. So the sooner you make a submission, the sooner we will have it in our system. So that's why we recommend that, and you have time to edit. The forms are editable. I already mentioned what we look for in teams. We look for a right blend of technical ability, product thinking, and hustle. That's what we look for in the team or the applicants who we select. Boils down to 3 parameters. One is aspiration, the other one is enterprise, the other one is capability. And capability, we specifically talk about team capability. It is not required that all members of the team are proficient in technical skills, but it is required that at least one member in the team has technical proficiency. This program will require you to work on an idea and then build an idea, build a prototype and everything. So while deep technical expert is not required for all members of the team, we would expect that at least one person from the team has fair comfort with technology and all the members have a positive orientation towards technology. The guidance, how do we offer guidance? Yes, this was a request that came from your college. Shashwat on your behalf had made the request. So other than that, we have been setting up college-specific WhatsApp groups. I believe a college-specific WhatsApp group has already been set up for your college as well. If not, we can quickly do that. We'll take Shashwat's help to get it done. So you can keep asking any questions there. Aside of that, we have also set up an email. It's rajasthansssep@gmail.com. At any given point of time, if you have any questions or queries or clarifications, you can mail them to us. You can definitely expect us to get back within 24 hours, if not sooner. We've also set up a Telegram group. So all members, once you apply, once you put in your Form 1, your first application, you will also be provided an invite to come and join a Telegram group. So that Telegram group is restricted only to participants who applied. So that is where you can get more feedback in terms of how you can improve your application. In terms of repeating and closing out, this is a fantastic program. 100 students going to be taken by the Rajasthan government. I think all of you should take advantage of the opportunity. And in that, the key deadlines. May 20th is the deadline. So that's your final deadline there. And the application link is bit.ly/SSEP 2018. I'll post that in the chat thread as well. That is your so yes, I provided the link to the application form in the chat thread. So I believe that covers the most part of it. There is also a guideline document that we have set up that covers most of the FAQs and Q&As and everything. I will share that link also here. Let me just confirm that link once more. Yes. So that is the link to the guideline document. So that pretty much covers most of the key parts of the program. There are a couple of questions that have come in. Let me take a look at that. So one is from Rahul Pandey. What is the security that our idea would not be leaked? We have taken prevention precaution. The only people who have access to whatever submissions you make will only be the Rajasthan SSEP team and the government of Rajasthan. So within those structures, we have taken every safeguard possible to ensure that the information doesn't get transferred to anybody else. But having said that, if you are concerned about sharing your idea, the guidance will have to be saying that do not share any proprietary information. We're not signing any NDA or everything, so that is not part of the process. I hope that answers your question, gives you sufficient clarity. But yes, that's the structure that is there. There is a question from Piyush and there is a question from Karan Tyagi. Piyush has asked, what are the criteria of selection? And Karan has asked, we are 4 members, all boys. Our startup is itself incubated in our college itself. The description said that the teams having girls will be preferred. Does this put under some sort of disadvantage? So let me quickly answer both questions. Rahul, the answer to the question, sorry, Piyush, the answer to the question, what are the criteria for selection? I covered that in the quick live. So I'll repeat that. So we're looking at the right blend of technical ability, product thinking, and hustle. That's what we look for in teams. In terms of parameters, we're looking at your team capability, your aspiration, and your enterprising nature. So this is what we look at in terms of parameters. So I hope that answers the question to a fair extent. We are 4 team members, all boys. So Karan, thanks for going through the whole document. Yes, we had mentioned that there is a preference for teams who have girl participants in that. So there is a mandate from Government of Rajasthan to ensure that at least 25 to 30 participants has to be girls. So that's a very clear mandate we're working with. But having said that, it should not put you at a disadvantage because the primary criteria still remains your what we call the strength of your application, the capability of your team. So if you're a 4-member team, all boys, if you're putting in a good application, if you're a good strong team, there is nothing that should put you at a disadvantage. But both teams on, so let's say there's another team who are almost equivalent to you in terms of capability, and that team has a female applicant, then that probably that team has a slight edge over your team. So that is the way to look at that. That covers some of the questions that have come in so far. Anything else? So what I can do is, let me quickly get on a call with Shashwat as well. There's been some issues with the audio, so I've not been able to. Hello, Shashwat. Am I audible? Yes. Sounds good. So I quickly covered the key aspects of the program. I've also shared the deck that we use for call sessions with you. There were a couple of questions that came in. I briefly answered that also. I'm also okay. Sounds good. Anything else you want me to cover? If you have any questions, I can take them from you on behalf of the students. Yeah, wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Sure. If someone wants to answer, otherwise you can end the session. Not a problem. And if
possible, upload it also. Okay.
It will be uploaded. The same link will be accessible, so you can share with other students also. So it's an unlisted link, so you won't be able to locate it by search, but this link will be available, and the video will be available on YouTube. And I will wait for another 3 to 5 minutes. I will be around. So if anybody has questions, I can take those. Or if you have anything you want me to talk about, I can take those also.
Sir, you have already covered all the topics, I guess. So, like, wait for 2 or 3 minutes.
Sure.
If someone wants to ask also, otherwise we can.
Sounds good, Shashwat. We'll do that. We'll wait for a couple of minutes in case there are any questions. Are you one of the teams that are applying, Shashwat? There's a question from Krishna. Can one apply on behalf of two teams? There is nothing stopping you from doing that. We won't be able to prevent you from applying, but I would recommend that you be part of only one team. Eventually, when the final selections happen, you will be required to be part of one team itself. So at some point, you will have to make a choice which team you're going to be going with. So I highly recommend that only one person be part of one team. Hope that clarifies, Krishna. We have one more question from Rahul. We have a group of 2 students. Our idea links a bit of coding so we can apply for the project. Absolutely, yes. If you have, so basically the program is designed for building software-based startups. That's why the program is also happening in Silicon Valley. So essentially, the ideas that you will be, or the program that you'll be working on there, will be around ideas, internet-enabled ideas, startup ideas. So it could be IoT-enabled as well, but there definitely will be a coding or a programming component. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need very high sophistication in terms of coding knowledge. But yes, if one person, at least one person of the team has good knowledge about computers and coding, that will be great. We also look forward to application, Rahul. There's a question from Suman. I don't have an idea, but my team and I would walk to work on one. How much time will we be getting to complete or present our idea for final interview? So to answer that question, Suman, just to clarify again, you will not essentially have to make a lot of progress on an idea before the final interview. So essentially what we are saying is that during the program in Silicon Valley, during the program that happens in July, you will be required to work on some idea, because that is the only way. Think of it as a project-based learning. That's the only way you can learn, pick up the skills and the learning outcomes. So there, either you can work on an idea of your own, or you can actually work on your own idea. That's why that comes up primarily. But having said that, for the final interview for the 31st, we have mentioned that anybody who has any prototype will have a slight advantage. So there, in that particular scenario, by 20th is where the first submission deadline comes in. 31st is where the final applications come in. Final interview is going to happen. So between now and then, whichever idea you can pick, if you want to pick a few ideas and work on that try to create a prototype, even a wireframe prototype. That will definitely stand as a positive factor in terms of a selection. We will take a look at that. You will get more detailed guidelines on the final selection, what we are required to do once the submissions for the application deadline is over. So all those who have completed the applications by around the 22nd, you will get much more detailed guidelines about the final interview. And the final interviews are going to happen on 31st. So in terms of time that you have, the max time you have is the 31st of this month. But having said that, you really need not necessarily have an idea at this stage. You really need not necessarily work on an idea at this particular stage. If your team is good, and if you don't have an idea, if your team capability is great, if you have a keen interest in exploring the program and looking at entrepreneurship at a later point in time, you can very well apply and you can very well get through. There will be a couple of requirements we will request you to do for you to prepare and come for your final interview. As I said, you will get more clarity there on the 20th, by the 22nd. But as a word of reassurance, the selection on the 31st, the final selections is not a function of your idea or the strength of the idea or your ability to build that idea, the potential of that idea. The more important parameter is the team and the capability of the team. I hope that answers your question, Suman, and I hope that brings in the sufficient required clarity and comfort for you to apply as well. So no, you're not at a disadvantage if you do not have an idea. We have a question from Shashwat, that's from Viber. By what kind of questions will be asked in Skype interview or the video interview round? Karan has asked one more question. If we submit an application through video, is it necessary for all team members to be in that video? So let me take Karan's question first. If you're submitting a video, it is desirable that all team members jointly do the video, but we do realize that almost all of you are not physically in the same location. People might have traveled, your exams are over, everything. So for the application, it is not mandatory that the video that you submit has all the team members participating in the video. But subsequent to you putting the application, when the selection process happens, you will be shortlisted and there will be a preliminary selection, which will be a video interview. And subsequent to that, there will be a final interview, which will be a physical interview. In these two rounds, all participants are expected to be there. In the video interview round, again, it's not required that all of you be present in one physical location. You will be allowed to come in from different locations as well. But and the final interview will happen in Jaipur. That will be a physical interview. Only those participants who turn up for the interviews will be considered for selection in the final round. Shashwat has asked the question, what kind of questions will be asked in the Skype interview? This will be, so the Skype interview will be more of a, it's not exactly elimination round or anything, it's more of a qualifying round. So based on the pitch that you submit, the interview round will actually go a bit more further in terms of understanding your candidates, your application, and talking to your team. So the interim interview round is more of a qualifying round than a selection round. So the final selections are going to be the main selection round. So there's not going to be anything extra in the interim interview round. Do we need to submit the business plan along with the pitch in the final round? Absolutely not. Even if that's a question from Neha. So you will not be required to submit a business plan in the final round. If you have an idea, if you're working on an idea, or if you prefer to work on an idea, if that's the way you're looking at going about it, we will request that you make a small presentation on your idea, and that will be only a pitch presentation. You can do a PPT or a PDF based sort of a thing. It will be a very brief, informal conversation. We want to see how you're thinking and how you're looking at developing the idea. So again, there the selection is not going to be based on how big the idea is, how big the idea can grow. It'll be more in terms of we want to see how you're thinking, how you're approaching the particular problem, and how you're communicating that to us. So it's more of your clarity of thinking and quality of thought that we're looking at than the potential of the idea. I hope that clarifies, Neha. So as I said, the whole program is designed in such a way as a capacity building or a capability building exercise for the students. So it is not a business plan or an idea evaluation competition. It is more of a capability. So let's say if you have an idea and if you have, or either if you have done a startup or anything, that adds on as a credential, as a capability of your team or your enterprising nature. The idea per se is not what we're looking at. We're looking at you, we're looking at your capabilities, and looking at your team. What is that you want to do? What is that you want to gain out of the program? And so yeah, that is how the program has been designed. And after attending the program, once you come back, you will have a much more broader sense of how you go about building a tech startup, what are the opportunities out there, what are the capabilities that you require, what are the skills that you require to go about it. And then after you come back from the program, you have all the time to decide whether you want to really take up entrepreneurship as a full-time vocation. I hope that clarifies, Neha. And yes, I look forward to your application also. Either the questions have tried it. Yes, there is one question from Saeed Amjad. Any preference in submitting video introduction with the prelim application? Honest answer, Saeed, there is no preference in submitting a video interview. It's my personal preference. If you submit a video, I can actually, see you talking, see your team talking, get a bit of feel of the chemistry and everything. But essentially, we are looking at having a shortlisting interview round exactly to do that. So even if you end up submitting a text application, we would love to talk to you, and we would love to see you talking. We would love to see your team, together, and what kind of chemistry and what kind of camaraderie you bring onto the table. So given that there is a shortlisting round, there is a qualifying interview, video interview round that you set up, there is no special preference for submitting a video introduction. So yes, you can submit a video or you can submit a text. You can submit both a video and a text description. You can even talk in a language, let's say Hindi. If you're more comfortable, you can talk in Hindi as well. So basically what we have done is we want to hear you talking. We want to hear you conveying ideas. We sort of kept it flexible and open-ended for you to make use of the best way to communicate. If you feel video is a better way for you to communicate, by all means do that. If you feel that a text is a better way to convey your thoughts, leverage that. And we anyways would love to see you, talk to you and everything, which we have the shortlisting interview round in any case. That's why I said it's more of a qualifying round than a selection or elimination round. Trust that answers your question, Saeed. That indeed was a fair number of questions. (7:14) right now. I'll probably wait for a minute or two, and then I can wrap this call. What I will also do is, I had mentioned about the email ID you can reach us. I will provide the email ID also here in the chat. There is one question from Karan again. If anybody has any questions, quickly do post it out right now. I will be looking to wrap up the call in a couple of minutes. So now is the time to put all your questions together. I can do a quick roundup and close the call. So Karan has asked a question: do teams who are already working on a startup and have made considerable progress will have an upper hand as far as chance of getting selected are concerned? So technically, yes, that will go on to show that you are really keen on exploring such a career. That will add on to your aspiration, that will add on to your credibility in terms of your enterprising nature. And depending on what you have achieved, that will count against your capability as well. So in that sense, yes. But more than saying that you have done a startup and done something, we will actually be taking a look at a lot more on what you have been able to put together. The quality of your accomplishments is what we're looking at. And in that sense, it need not necessarily be a startup that you've done. If there is a separate project that you've taken up, an initiative that you've taken up, a social initiative that you've taken up, nothing to do with building a startup or anything. But if that qualifies as good execution skills and good team building skills and good team capabilities, that also counts as an advantage. Neha has asked one more question. How much weightage does Team Rappo and Sync have? A lot. So we definitely look at, when you're saying a team capability, yes, your team capability is definitely something which we want to look at. If one person could be a good coder, the other person could be a good hustler. So yes, there are collectively so many things we bring together as a team. So the team capability is there. But having said that, any team works together is when that team has camaraderie and mutual respect and admiration for each other. So we would love to understand how you came together as a team, how much do you know each other, what kind of projects you work together. So yes, the team camaraderie and the team rapport will definitely automatically come into picture, even if you don't have a separate weightage parameter specifically dedicated for that. That will definitely come because you will be working as a team. And how you manage to put together this team is something we would love to know. So to answer one of the questions which someone asked earlier, Shashwat, what kind of questions will be asked a Skype interview? One definite question you can expect is, if you're applying as a team, how did you all meet? How did you come together? What kind of projects have you done together? That's one question you can almost certainly expect from us. So basically, we would love to know more about you and your team and what all you have done together, what you look to achieve together, and what you basically look to gain out of the program. So sounds good. I believe we can come to the end of the session. So it's close to 7:20. We did face some challenges with technology initially, but glad that we could figure that out. We are available for conversation. So if you want to do a follow-up session as a conversation like this, more than happy to. If your friends in other colleges, if they want to have a session dedicated to their college, more than happy to. So we would love to facilitate as many information conversations as possible. So we are just one request away. We have people on our team in Rajasthan visiting colleges. We have the email ID that's set up. So any given point of time you want to reach out to us, do just write into that email I've just shared in the chat window. But basically, just go and quickly apply. It's a fantastic program. The Form 1 would take only a minute or two to apply. Quickly put an application, and then you will get subsequent information guidance from us. Reiterating, you're not required to have an idea to the program. It's not an idea evaluation competition. It's primarily looking at building smart, capable teams who could potentially create fantastic stuff in the future tomorrow. And we're looking at having a capability building program. So yes, this has been good. Thanks once again, Shashwat, for taking the initiative. I look forward to all your applications, and I hope to see some of you, or even all of you, in Silicon Valley in the program. I will be anchoring the program there also. And so yes, looking forward to seeing you all. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You will be able to access this YouTube stream again. That will be available on YouTube. You will need access to the same link. It's an unlisted video. So if you or any of your friends, if you want to watch it again, if you want to send it to any of your friends, feel free to do that as well. Thank you once again. Thanks, Shashwat, and thanks to all who participated.